Good day. If you've ever watched the Broadway show Alexander Hamilton, you will get a great sense of the revolutionary struggles that led to the creation of America. You get to see how some few Americans, notably Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr, and quite a number of them, first challenged the British, fought away with the British, and then helped in building the present reality we find today called the United States of America. Alexander Hamilton played a very significant part in giving America its constitution today. And that drama, that Broadway is very dramatic, that it evokes a lot and it teaches a lot. Today, America celebrates 249 years because next year they will be celebrating 250 years of independence. And today, Donald Trump, President of America, celebrated a big win. He, being a dramatist, being an entertainer, also made a great show of the 4th of July celebrations when there was a flyover, a flyby by B-2 bombers and F-35 stealth bombers. We should know that B-2 bombers have just become preeminent in American military warfare because of the precision bombing they did on the Fordo and Natanz facilities in Iran, nuclear facilities in Iran. So they are now in the news. They are the epitome of American military power. Stealth, powerful, can fly for over 40 hours. And just like Elon Musk starts Falcon 9 rockets, there's almost nothing like it anywhere in the world. So President Trump had a big celebration today, and to cap it all, he signed into law the big, beautiful bill. One big, beautiful bill, as he calls it. It promises a lot of tax cuts for the ordinary Americans. It promises quite a lot. It wants to stimulate manufacturing and growth in America. But in cutting tax, there's a payoff, there's a trade-off. America will need to raise money from somewhere to implement the budget, and that will be that it will have to raise more debt. America has chosen the path of debt rather than the path of taxation of its people. And Trump is an advocate of lower tax to stimulate the economy. That has always been part of the Republican DNA. It was also what we knew Ronald Reagan to be famous for. But amidst all that celebrations, one person was missing. One person was really missing. And that one person is Elon Musk. He was conspicuous in his absence, to say the least. Elon Musk was busy though. Today, he said he was going to do something. He's going to start the America Party. So as I'm making this video now, a poll is still going on his X page where he's asking Americans for the second time if there should be a third party, because unlike most supporters of the president, he chose to call for fiscal responsibility. Then in calling for fiscal responsibility, he broke off with the president, and that friendship is now in dire straits. So he has said that this country needs fiscal responsibility because a $35 trillion debt overhang, of which there will be an additional $3 trillion, is not good for the economic and financial wealth of America going forward. Good day and welcome to my channel, Bima Omungo's perspective on global affairs. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If you have any comments regarding the opinions I express, please leave them in the comment section. But don't forget to like and share. Today is a great day, and it may go forward in shaping realities. One thing is clear, President Trump is a winner. He has won many, he has so much wins in the win column that you have to hand it to him that he has won quite a lot. He has rallied his party, and he passes bills through Congress faster and more expediently than most other politicians and presidents in this modern era. He has been very successful in pushing his agenda, especially at this beginning part of his presidency. But as he goes forward, there's a new reality that may be facing him. People may think that Elon Musk should just stay in his lane and do rockets and do cars. I live in Austin, Texas, and in this Austin, Texas, I see the imprint of Elon Musk. The force that man is not just a force of creativity, a force of manufacturing. It's a force of will, just like President Trump. And when he says he's going to start a third America party, the whole idea is that he considers both parties not to be in the interest of the people of America, but in their own political interest. So the America Party, as he sees it, should be a third party that will impress upon insisting and shaping policy directions of government going forward. He has stated very clearly that he doesn't intend to win huge majorities in Congress. He just wants to win enough, create an imbalance in government in the parties where they never have a majority, the Democrats and the Republicans, and where even if he has 8 congressmen and possibly 4 senators, he will be able to influence decision making in America. We should not take this very lightly. The shape of the world as we see it today is influenced by the fact that some parties may not be big, but they are very, very influential. A case in point is Israel, where President Benjamin Netanyahu could not form a party, he could not form a majority, couldn't form a government. But because of that, he had to sign up ultra or religious parties and other minor parties to be able to form government. And in forming government with those parties, even though they were small, they had strong views and strong opinions as to how Gaza and how the Palestinians should be treated. And anytime he deviates from trying to implement their own agenda, they will threaten to collapse the government. So they project more power than they really have. Third parties have also influenced Germany. In Germany also, we see a situation where the Greens were very influential in shaping German environmental policy as it is today. So it is not light to look at, especially in systems where there's contention between the bigger parties. We also know that if it wasn't for a law banning affiliations with AFD, the AFD in Germany would have also they would have weighed in seriously in policy, but they still do. They are still influential. Anyway, they throw their part or their votes to wins in the German in the German parliament. So that's just it is. So the way I see it is that Elon Musk, in focusing and saying that he is going to be an influential person, he wants to do just the most he can in making sure that he gets enough to shape and force their own agenda on any policy going forward is a threat more than the Republicans and Democrats may be seeing. But while these things are going on in America, and America is enjoying a new renaissance, I would say, at least this brief new renaissance, and the 4th of July celebrations are still going. Later on this evening, there will be fireworks all over the place. We should remember that there has been fireworks. There's fireworks that has already happened on the early mornings of the 4th of July in Kyiv. Kyiv was bombed out yesterday night. There was bombing, missiles, Giran 3 missiles, evil drones. They are mainly drones because there were Caliber, there were Kinjal, and then there were Iskander missiles raining down on Kyiv. And all this created a very sleepless night for the people of Kyiv on the 4th of July. Why is this so? The 4th of July bombing, as I would call it, came out of the fact that for the very first time in a long time, the Ukrainians bombed the city of Donetsk, and they bombed into civilian areas and killed some civilians using American HIMARS. It was it's still not known how managed to get close enough to bomb Donetsk because they've not bombed Donetsk for a long time since the fall of Avdiivka. The response of the Ministry of Defense of Russia was swift. They may have planned it already, but 500 drones and ballistic missiles, including Kinjal and including Iskander and including Caliber, was just a little bit too much. But the irony is that despite this huge number of drone attack and missile attack, there was no person that died. Nobody died. Some people were injured, but nobody died. It was also telling that there was no defense against the incoming. But if nothing terrorized the people of Kyiv more, it would have been the sound of those Gorentry drones. They've put an attachment to the drones that put this high-pitched noise that frightened the jibbers out of anybody living in Kyiv. And even we who were watching it on Telegram channels and on YouTube and the record of how the bombing was taking place, it was frightening to just see. So why is this so? Putin just had a meeting and a call with Trump, and he insisted that the root cause of the issues between NATO and Ukraine on one side and Russia should be addressed. This root cause, as we have enumerated many times, is the contention. But the Russians are now putting their leg on the pedal at a time that Trump is backing away from the war. Trump has said it's not his war. He has cut funding and military aid to Ukraine. And we have just found out that it is actually Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, who unilaterally took that decision. Pete Hegseth took that decision, and when he took that decision, he may be taking it on the behest of the president anyway. Sometimes you take attention away from the president. The president has said he didn't order it. But Ukraine is not in a good place. The Russians are really stepping up. And while they were bombing Kyiv, 500 projectiles in all, of which about 400 were drones and the others were missiles. While they were doing this, they're also achieving phenomenal successes on the battlefront in Sumy, in other areas across the Donetsk and Luhansk. Luhansk, they've already liberated, and Zaporozhye. So Ukraine is in a bad place. I've said this in several videos, and it just may be that Trump wants them to realize their situation, because on all the times that the Europeans encourage them, the Ukrainians just don't know the real position they are in. But we should understand that the Europeans have an agenda in using Ukraine. For the British, they find a way to stay involved and engage in a war, gives them a sense that they are still a power. For the Germans, a strong Russia is something a country they are always afraid of, because don't forget, Russia held on to the east part of Germany for several years. They made sure that Eastern Germany was under their knee for the sins of the German SS that invaded the Soviet Union and killed over 25 or 27 million Russians and other Soviets, Jews, and so many other people in the Soviet Union. So they were in that region until the fall of the Soviet Union in the 1990s. So they have a history with Russia, but they just are not at a place where they can challenge Russia directly, because for the past 70 or 80 years, America has been an occupier of Germany. Whether we say it nicely or not, America has occupied Germany. Under the framework of NATO, they have found a way to pacify the Germans and make sure that they were under the nuclear umbrella of America. And even though the Germans continue to manufacture arms like the Leopard, and they were part of the Eurofighter project, and they also have a good arms development project like Rheinmetall that manufactures a lot of arms. We know the German arms to be very, very efficacious and very deadly, very efficient, very scientific, very modern. They just don't have it in large enough numbers, and they don't have an army in large enough numbers. Anyway, Frederick Miles is saying that he will change that. He will make sure that he increases the investment of of Germany in new arms development. They want to have military and arm development sovereignty away from the Americans. How far they will go with that, I don't know. But one thing is clear. Frederick Miles and Starmer want the war to continue. Macron made a call to Putin before Trump made that call. We don't know if Macron is beginning to see the light and is beginning to find a way and an off-ramp. The excuse was that they want to limit Iran's decision going forward as to joining, as to making the nuclear bomb, because going forward, Iran has decided that it will cut ties with the International Atomic Energy Agency. It will also go on with a new policy called nuclear ambiguity, where nobody will know its hand, whether it will make and improve its enrichment of nuclear fissile material to 99% or 90%, or whether it should. Nobody will know. From now on, nobody will have access to their nuclear program, and that creates a lot of uncertainty and worry for a lot of people, because the Iranians have, through parliament, approved a bill, and the bill has been signed by the president, and that bill has said that they are ending all cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency, who they feel were complicit with the Americans and the Israelis in bombing them. So for that reason, IAEA staff have left Tehran and left Iran. That was the reason, one of the reasons why Trump called, and that was also one of the reasons why Macron called. So we are in a world of a lot of moving parts, a world where the Ukraine war is in a flux. Many people don't really know now, but one thing is certain in that war: the upper hand is now fully on the side of the Russians. And I will say, how do we see the chessboard going forward? How do we see geopolitics playing out? One in the Middle East, because what happens in the Middle East also ties to what happens to Russia and what happens to China. There's a linkages in all of them. For Iran, that attempt to destroy Iran raised the tail and the hair on China and Russia, because they knew that they have a soft underbelly in the Caucasus. If Russia falls, I mean, if Iran had fall, the Russians know that they're already having a war with Ukraine. Now they'll be bothered about their southern flank, and that was a big worry for them. For the Chinese too, losing a big ally is not something that they can occupy, because if that project has been successful, it simply means that one down, the next globalists and the neocons will now be looking at China directly. So the Chinese have an interest in supporting the Iranians. And the Iranians haven't learned, I think, from my own summation, that what happened to Iran in the 12-day war is like a vaccination, an inoculation. It has primed them to the possibility of their being removed. It has weakened their system, because while they've prepared for a war for a long time, the war still came to them as a surprise. So what was shown by that war was how much their military had been infiltrated, how they have no counterintelligence, almost none. They were completely at the mercy of. They were infiltrated completely by Israeli Mossad and the CIA, and they have to now start to strengthen their counterintelligence units. And we also saw the role that the cyber war played, and how, even though Iran is very good in cyber technology and cyber security, they fell short. Their whole air defense systems were shut down for 8 hours, and for 8 hours they could not. They were blind. And that was just a cyber attack on them. They will want to strengthen that. We also hear now that Iran is doing something about getting planes, war planes that can help them in stand-up wars, battles, dogfights with the Israeli fighters, because Israel has always had the first pick of the best of American weaponry. They have F-35 aplenty. So what are we hearing now? We're hearing the Iranians are trying to get the Chinese J-10 fighters. That's a 4.5 generation fighter, but got a good accolades for its role in downing some Rafale planes, French Rafale planes during the Operation Sindor between Pakistan and India. So Iran has to now beef itself up. The Russians will be looking in that direction in helping to beef them up. Where they will talk to the Iranians regarding one, their nuclear program, and then two, in helping them in fighting. If the Iranians, being a proud country may and wanting to keep on to their sovereignty, may prefer to go with the Chinese, who they don't share a contiguous border with anyway. A contiguous border with Russia and a contentious history with Russia may mean that they may not be too trustful of Russia, knowing the full architecture of their air defense systems and their cybersecurity systems. They may not be too amenable to that, but not with the Chinese. The Chinese systems, anyway, are much, much superior if it comes to electronics, because we all know that at the heart of modern electronics these days is the city of Shenzhen, and that's in China. Almost all the components, all the supply chains, all the technologies and AI and all the modern iterations of hardware and softwares all come from that one region. And that's why even America, with their superiority in semiconductors, are surprised at the rate at which the Chinese are putting semiconductors, AI models, every single thing that they produce in America, the Chinese are bringing out equivalents so fast because of the city of Shenzhen. And with champions like Huawei, Xiaomi, Tencent, and Baidu. So maybe we'll be seeing a situation where the Chinese and the Iranians may be working towards securing Iran for their mutual interests. Already there's a train line now, very, very fortuitously and very timely. A train line has been built between China and Iran under the Belt and Road Initiative, because that is a way by which China is trying to find a land routes to avoid choke points that the America has always prepared for them whenever that confrontation, which seems an inevitability that will happen. We're moving towards that day that America and China will move into a hot war. But China is tying and making sure and strengthening its allies before that time comes. So this is where we are now. We are at a point where America is celebrating today, a great day. Donald Trump is already looking forward to celebrating the 250th birthday of America. He made one very interesting announcement that there will be a UFC fight in the world, in the White House on that, as part of that celebration. We who follow UFC, I'm in Nigeria, we had two UFC champions, Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya. Unfortunately, they are no more champions. They've been punched silly, beaten. But we still have an African champion there, the South African, in the middleweight category, who beat Adesanya. But I think he has, and it will be an interesting thing to see that event finally take place in UFC. That will be an the UFC happening in the White House. That will be an interesting one. So it's a happy day. Trump has won a lot of victories, and Putin has stepped his foot down on making sure that Ukraine is brought to heel, and NATO partners are also come to see their side and come to see their need to take care of Russia's security interests. Any security that does not involve the other party is not one. It's not a zero-sum game. Security architecture is supposed to be inclusive, but tell that to NATO, they don't understand. Then the Chinese to have a part to play. They have to help Iran strengthen itself at a time that Iran has chosen a path to nuclear ambiguity. And Iran is on a race to try and strengthen itself, improve its counterintelligence, improve its air defense, improve its cybersecurity systems, and the Chinese may just be the partner they need. And with also the Russians, but like I said, they will most likely prefer the Chinese. This is where I end my video today. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section. If you liked, please like and share. And spread the word of this channel. Help us grow by letting the world know about us. Thank you very much. Until I see you in my next video. Goodbye.